Hello, everyone. Good morning. Can you all hear me okay? No. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the December 2023 School of Communication Commencement Brunch. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Genevieve Buto. I'm the events coordinator for the School of Comm. I just want to point out a couple things before we get started. If you see this exit sign in the back of the room, if you follow that hallway down, you're going to go through a suite of offices. That's where our men's and women's restrooms are going to be. And you come back through that outside door and re-enter the room. That's how you get back in. Important thing to note. We're going to get started in just a moment. I'd like to go ahead. Elizabeth, are you ready? You want to come on in? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our dean, Elizabeth Kaufman. Let's go ahead and give her a nice warm round of applause.
Thank you, Genevieve. And thanks to Genevieve, we have everything, all this wonderful food and chairs and everything going smoothly, so much appreciated. All right, well, good morning, friends, family, guardians, supporters, everyone who's here, but especially the soon-to-be graduates. We are just so delighted to be celebrating our December commencement with you. I'm Elizabeth Kaufman. I'm the acting dean for the School of Communication. And, you know, I always prefer this December ceremony. Not everyone has it, but the School of Communication has always had one. And it's smaller, it's more intimate, it's easier to find often your favorite students or teachers to say a word to. And, you know, we always record this event for you. It's streaming, but we have a special recording going on today that you're going to hear more about later. But if you saw the signs coming in, they're saying, you know, if you have any problems with the back of your head being recorded or showing up in a film, please let the producers know. And you'll hear, because I am also a documentary filmmaker and production person, you can blame me for it at the end. Absolutely. Okay, well, we are here to celebrate this huge accomplishment for each and every one of you. The completion of many hours, days, years of hard work and determination. Batteries dying, alarms going off, the shuttle being 15 minutes late, okay, 25 minutes late, weeks of writing, editing, testing, retesting, uploading to Sakai. As devout Catholic writer Flannery O'Connor once said, it is better to be young in your failures than old in your successes. Those failures are what we learn from. You'll remember them one day. I promise you'll remember all of those failures with humility and maybe even a little nostalgia. Please, everyone, join me in congratulating our wonderful, talented School of Communication graduates. Okay, and now it gives me really great honor to introduce a very special woman. The incomparable chaplain for the Loyola Ramblers, a woman who still emails a response to any student who writes to her, our talented digital maven who is a little suspicious of artificial intelligence and who has her own day named after her, Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt of the Sisters of Charity of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Sister Jean will now open our events with an invocation. Sister Jean.
Good morning. Before we begin the prayer, I just want to say to you that I'm delighted to be with you. You're very special to Loyola, you're very special to the city of Chicago, and to the world. You have a good responsibility as you go forth. So I'm glad to be able to say that to you and to let you know that we're all behind you, especially going to school. Always ready to help, so never hesitate to ask for it. So let us pray. Good and gracious God, we ask you to bless these young graduates who are going out into that great digital world. We thank you, O God, for the mission statement of the school. This indicates that you are and will continue to be a community of learners, fostering critical thinking and innovation. You are a community of learners that adapt to whatever is going on in today's society and technology, studying social issues and presenting them as true facts with great integrity. You ask the why and the how of the things that are changing in this world. Oh God, these young men and women, as they make the next step, please guide them into this world with lightning fast communications that continues to happen in our society. They are prepared to do this, and we ask you to bless them as they go forth and proclaim your name. We want you to know that you are highly respected because you are graduating from Loyola University, Chicago. And we thank the people who have helped you reach this stage in your life as extraordinary people. Graduates, you have great enthusiasm, you have knowledge, integrity, and firm foundation in Jesuit education. But remember, your education doesn't stop here. You continue to learn. And so we say to you, oh, God bless all of you, and go out and set the world on fire. I say amen and go Ramblers.
Thank you, Sister Jean. You know, we're having this is a real Rambler Sports commencement for sure. I know we've got some Rambler Sports graduates. I'm about to introduce our honored student speaker. So I'm going to do a shout out for the Blackhawks. Go Bears, go Ramblers. We're going to have a good sports day. So let me just introduce now a student who is near and dear to the School of Communications heart, to everyone on the second floor. Frank Zawrazky, you have been such a dear, welcoming face and voice that we hear every time we come up to the second floor. So it is my honor to introduce you to our graduates to speak. So thank you, Frank.
This thing working? All right, cool. First off, that was a beautiful prayer from Sister Jean. I'd like to take a moment to thank Acting Dean Kaufman, Associate Dean John Slania, along with all the other faculty and staff in attendance. Hello, everyone in attendance, whether you're faculty, staff, family, friends. My name's Frank Zawrazky. If you know anything about me, you know I love hockey. And here's why. Hockey holds everyone involved to the highest standards possible. To achieve them, you work as a team on and off the ice. The hockey community is a global one, but also maintains a small-town feeling. That same atmosphere is what I and so many of you have experienced at Loyola. True confession, I wasn't planning to go to Loyola. I thought the school was way too big and would never find my niche. I was looking at a different school in hopes of pursuing my passion of doing play-by-play hockey broadcasting. Everything changed the summer of 2019. My parents told me about the digital storytelling workshop at Loyola University Chicago School of Communication. All I knew then as a high school student was that Loyola was in the Final Four the year prior. Mostly to make my parents happy, I agreed to go to the workshop, a week-long event where high school students lived at Baumhart, which is a block away from here, picked up some digital media skills, and learned about the school communication as a whole. At the time, I was running my hockey talk show, Tomahawk Roundup, from high school. I wasn't the most attentive student at the workshop. I was constantly on my phone, excusing myself from presentations to conduct interviews with hockey personnel for my show around North America. Even on a field trip to Navy Pier, I was manning the phones. I wasn't socializing much with anyone, aside from this one professor who always seemed to be around. He took a genuine interest in the phone calls I was making, and even asked to see how I was doing them, how I was finding numbers, the elevator pitch, the whole 9 yards. I happily did that. I didn't know it then, but I was making a friend for the rest of my life. One night during the workshop, I may or may not have bent the rules to pursue an interview with former Blackhawks forward Andrew Shaw. He posted his location on his Instagram story, which was about a mile away from Baumhart at the time. I asked our 2 camp counselors, one of whom was Genevieve actually, for permission to go, and they both told me to go ask the other one. I decided to just go for it. And I went along, grabbed an Uber, and went down to the restaurant where Andrew was at. He was there that night, all right. I met him and his other teammate, Dan Carcillo. They weren't giving interviews, but I did get a couple pictures. And for this up-and-coming hockey reporter, that was a win. Then came the next morning. Remember that professor I told you that was always around? He pulled me aside, like an old-school hockey coach. He introduced himself fully this time. He told me he heard about my escapade last night, and he was lucky I didn't get hit by a car or the school would have been liable. But this coach didn't bench me. Instead, he talked to me about my future and said I should apply to Loyola. That professor, or as I know now, his name was Dean John Slania. He cared deeply about me, gave me his business card, and told me to contact him if I ever wanted to attend Loyola. Professor Slania told me that he wanted to help me develop as a journalist through the School of Communication at Loyola. Like a hockey prospect, I was being recruited. I applied to Loyola and was accepted that fall. My college career was about to launch, and then COVID hit. Everything was turned on its head. It was scary, it was sad, it was isolating. However, but that's when teamwork really matters the most. When adversity strikes, you grow stronger together and don't break. Through my Loyola team, I was able to navigate my freshman year remotely at my home in Glenview. I even brought my talk show, Tomahawk Roundup, to WLUW thanks to Lenny Perlman, who I met during the workshop. And then when we finally returned to campus, Team Loyola was there for me when I faced my biggest setback so far. I lost my first broadcasting job, a play-by-play gig so much that I adored I would commute to Michigan every weekend during school to do it. But the team was sold mid-season and I was let go. Through all of this, Loyola supported me while I found an interim writing job waiting for another play-by-play position to open up. When I wanted to chat with any of my professors or my old buddy, Professor Slania, the door was always open. One of my closest professor friends from the School of Communication, NBC correspondent Sarah Dolph, was even gracious enough to come to my pre-graduation party this past summer at my house. I think you've gotten my point now. The Loyola experience is a carbon copy of the hockey world. You have your own local team that supports one of its members, but the local team is not the end of the experience. There are professors, students, and alumni from Loyola scattered around the world, just like in hockey. Those connections last a lifetime, and in many cases, multiple generations. No matter how far you go from the source of your Loyola experience, there will always be that community out in the world to support you. Your coaches and professors will always be there for you, to cheer your successes and remind you they believe in you, even on your toughest days. Today isn't one of those tough days. It's a great one. We finished Game 7, and we're hoisting a cup of graduation. Look around at the people who are in your cheering section today. Give them a wave. It's time to celebrate.